Hey folks, Wandering Kid here. Gonna start up a new series on a game called SpaceChem. I am a little late to the party on this. It came out in 2011, but one of my longtime viewers and commenters, Weilang's son, pointed it out to me, and I've been getting into it. And he recommended that it might fit my style. So we're gonna give it a go, and if you guys enjoy it, great. If not, it'll be kicking around. So, this game is basically about taking atomic molecules and adding them together. I'm going to skip the entire tutorial planet. There is no reason to go there. I will explain what's going on as we go. So, I had gone through the tutorial planet in an entire video and whatnot, and it just doesn't make sense. It's boring, it's not interesting enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here on double bonds. And I'll walk you through what this stuff can kind of do, and then I will show you my idea for how I want to present this series over the long term. But since this is my intro entry, what you have here are a pair of Waldos. That's what they're called, don't ask me. They move around. Think the old logo turtle, where you give it a bunch of commands, and then it processes them in a program style. From the left, we have to take an oxygen. On the right, in this output area, we have to put a double bonded oxygen atom out. So we're going to give it a series of commands. First thing is I'm going to move the blue start up here, and I'll explain that in a minute. So let me just give you a quick overview of how things are going to work. For starters, I have 4 arrows that can redirect that colored line. So if I do this, I can put in a big circle. Now from there, I have a couple of other commands. This pause command is actually one you can build into your engine so that you can have it stop at high speed so you can examine what's going on at any particular point. It can be handy for more complex builds. We won't need it for a while, but you may see me use it eventually. So over here we have two obvious commands. They're in and out. So we're going to bring one in. Whoops. And over here, once we've dropped off and done what we need to, we will do an out. Notice this is the phi symbol. If I right click, I can set it to the omega symbol. Over here is alpha and beta. Same thing with the ins. I could bring in an A or a B. Next up, we have grab and drop. So Waldos will grab... Oops, I hit the wrong one. Waldos can grab or drop items, or grab drop at the same time. So once we've grabbed it, we're going to want it to drop here, and then it'll head around and go pick itself up. The final thing here that we're going to worry about for a while, there is a rotate command, we won't worry about that for a bit, is sync. Sync tells the system that, hey, we're done, we can start over again. And this is to keep your Waldos synced up in between runs. So now, to be able to do this intelligently, I cannot bring in another atom on this spot until red has grabbed it and moved out. So this will take 1 cycle to bring it in, 1 cycle to grab it, and off it goes. So I want the blue to start back here so that I get a little extra space. Now we're going to head down, and we'll grab from there. Actually, if I bring it in here, that gives me a little extra time. We'll go this way, and that way. We're going to drop there, and it will hang out here for the sync. Now notice I need to bond the oxygen twice. These are bonders. They will bond everything that is attached to it up to their maximum number of bonds. Let's go take a look at our periodic table. For example, oxygen has a maximum of 2 bonds, so I could do 4 bonds if I wanted to. It will still only accept 2 to an oxygen molecule, whereas like chlorine here can take 7. So I'm going to just let this run for a second, let you see what's going to happen. This in happens, it grabs, gets out of the way. That in is not set for alpha correctly. Let's try that again. But we also did not set up our bonds correctly, but that's okay. So that brings in, grabs, in, grab. Now they'll chase each other through here. They'll do a drop, he'll do a drop. Now the Waldos can cross over each other, but I didn't bond it. That's okay. I just wanted to show you how the machine works, how the commands basically instruct. Now we're going to get more interesting. So now what we need to do is bond these twice. Let me take a quick look at how this ends up. Okay, so after blue lands, we're good to go. I don't want the out here. So we're going to put the starts up a little closer. we're going to sync here, and I'm going to put in two blue bond commands. And I'm still hitting the out too early. So we'll put the out after the sync so that we know these two bond commands have occurred. There. I'm trying to show you two bonds. Okay, so now we've double bonded the oxygen, and then I get shipped. However, my sync got thrown off. This is because this red sync was too far back. This is one of the things you end up doing in this game, is manipulating it, trying to figure out which way is the better way to go. We want to push that sync forward a bit so that it stays that one ahead. Which means that and that there, but that means that this out is problematic because we may not have our bonding done while we're waiting on red, or waiting on blue to catch up to us. This actually does have an easy fix though. We're going to take that out away. We're going to move around our drop locations, like so. And by doing this, I give myself a little extra room over here to put in an out for phi. And off it goes. So this is the part of the game that actually becomes the puzzle. How do you get both your Waldos to manipulate in the correct order and produce a correct result? There's a couple of different ways you can do any particular puzzle. I had one earlier that had 141 cycles. This one was 158. But this used less symbols than my other one. And this is where you'll optimize for. You can optimize for how many cycles your process takes. A cycle is a Waldo moving from between boxes or performing an action, such as a rotate or an in. An in will not cause a cycle to expend unless it's waiting for a molecule. We won't see that until we get into reactors. Symbols used are symbols. The arrows, the in, out commands, things like that. You're almost always going to have a minimum of 6 symbols per Waldo. You're going to have a loop, which will take at least 4 arrows. You can get away with 2 if you set it up just so. I can show you how that works out eventually. And you're going to have an in and an out under most circumstances. So here's an example of how I want to present this series. And this is going to be kind of a tutorial, hint, talk it through series. When I went onto YouTube to go look up some solutions to puzzles I'd already solved to see, what did I miss, kind of things like that. And I also wanted to look over how this game was presented for a while. And I see a lot of presentation of either very, very complex objects, things for challenge videos and stuff like that, which can be interesting once you get into the game, but it won't necessarily help you with any particular puzzle. Or, here's a solution, good luck with it. I never really liked those, so here's my plan. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come in on any particular board, and we're going to take a look at what the puzzle requires. So we're going to get in 1 nitrogen here. We need to put out a triple bonded nitrogen here. Once we've shipped that, we need to ship out 10 of them. So, next thing I want to do for any particular episode in this is I want to offer some hints in case you're trying to solve it yourself and you don't want to walk through it with me quite yet. You want to go see what you can do and then come back. So here would be an example. So for example, let me run through a list of hints that I want to try and present before each board. First hint would be if each Waldo carries a nitrogen, you will be much higher optimized for speed. Your second hint would be no matter which Waldo sends a bonding command, all bonders will activate if they are attached. Your third hint is there's no reason to be bonding outside of the output target, and you don't need to line it up according to the output symbols. So with that, let me walk you through how I would go through the process. So I know I've got this in and this out. I know it's going out over here, and I really don't need it anywhere else. This is as close as I can get to the starting point to try and reduce cycles. At this point, I don't need anything else, really. Once I get 2 nitrogen in here, I can triple bond it and ship it. It doesn't have to match this symbol set. However, knowing this particular one, I think this will work out better for me in the long run. We'll see how that goes. We'll see. All right, so sometimes you just kind of take your solution and run with it. So we're going to start everything here. We'll do a grab, send it round, do a drop, and done. Now, because I know the blue one actually has further to travel overall because of what I'm going to do with it, we're going to set up the red one to actually go out a little further because blue's going to chase it in. Now, I need blue to be 2 back. Oops. Switch colors. That's not what I wanted. I wanted an add. Switch it to alpha. Let's do a grab. Oops. Nope, we're going to grab over here, which means I want to add over here. Swing you around, drop you, come up, and come over. Okay, so now we need sinks. And our sink is going to be here and here. And what this does is, if blue gets here before red gets here, blue will wait, and vice versa. So now we're going to do 3 activities coming out of the red drop. The problem is, I don't want it to trigger off until the sink has happened. I really want 2 sinks in here. The problem is because this is too tight, because I'm right on top of my start, I'm actually going to need to get myself a little extra space here. Oops. To work with blue. So because we've done this, I can now shift this way a hair. And I believe that shouldn't collide. It doesn't. Actually, I believe I can get that closer. Let me check. Nope. Okay. Was as close as it can get. Okay, so now we've synced up. Now let's see how this race is in. Okay, so you've dropped, and you're here after the drop. So we can start bonding on this. So we're going to put a bond in here, a bond here, and a bond here. This should give me a 3-way bond. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Which means at this point, I can do an out. Oops, wrong color. So they'll drop off, they bond up, and now they go through again. Triple bond, and away we go. And you can make it go really fast and just be done. So, 138 cycles, 1 reactor, 20 symbols. Not horrible. So that's the idea for this series, is I'm hoping to do each level as a hint structure, walk you through the logic behind building the puzzle out, and how I get to my solution, and then finally my solution. And if I've done this right, there should be plenty of annotations up on the screen for you to jump around to different places. So if you're interested in this series, or if you're just enjoying it, please leave a comment, drop me a like, do something. It always helps out. And I will see you next time for the next one. Thanks for watching.